Hey guys, my name's Sam and welcome to Prep Medic. In this week's video, we are reviewing the Get Home Alive kit by Live the Creed. Alright, so in front of me, I have the Get Home Alive kit by Live the Creed. You'll recognize this company. They are also the makers of the Pocket Trauma Kit, which is what I carry as a medical EDC in the summer with shorts on. I also have one of their IFAKs on my battle belt currently. So they are a super cool company, very small business, and they put out some amazing products. So I'm really excited to dig into this. Now, obviously, this is a humongous pack. On the outside, it's very well made. They make everything by hand in their shop. And it's basically a custom kit that they've designed to fit these supplies. So on these zipper pulls, you have Maxpedition zipper pulls, which is kind of a nice touch. The fabric is super sturdy, stitching is very well done. And then on the back, I think one of my favorite things that they do is they give you a million mounting options. So through here, they give you malice clips that you can put these on any MOLLE field, mounted horizontally like this. So you can put this on a battle belt or a plate carrier, or potentially on a backpack. Now, I will say that this is a little bit big to be holding on a battle belt in my opinion. You can definitely do it, but it would be kind of a bulky item. So for me, this will probably go into my car as the replacement car kit on that little MOLLE panel I have in the back. But you can definitely do some other things with it. You can also put this through a belt this way, or this way. So you can mount it horizontally or vertically, either way. So it gives you a lot of different options on mounting it, or you can just have this as a standalone kit, take everything off and not worry about any straps or anything loose there. On the side, you have this elastic bungee, and this holds your cat tourniquet. Pretty easy to get in, take out, not really gonna go anywhere. So it's nice to have that tourniquet, easy access on the outside because you have a lot of stuff in here you don't want to have to dig through when you're trying to apply this to somebody. And then on the bottom and the side, you have these two webbing loops, and you can use these to put on any number of things. So they have trauma shears through there. And these are pretty standard trauma shears. There's nothing special about them. After 1 to 2 uses, you'll probably have to get a new pair. But these ones are pretty cheap and easy to replace. And on the side, you have 2 more depending how you want to carry those shears. Regardless. The one thing I forgot to mention on the back is you can run this as a dangler. So you can run this under your plate carrier with these Velcro straps, and it will just hang down below your plate carrier. That's probably the most viable way to use this on a plate carrier, because otherwise it's going to be sticking out pretty far from your body and make it kind of hard to move around. Now, getting into the pack itself, this pocket here, we'll go through what's in here. This pocket can be accessed from the outside or the inside. So opening up to the inside, you basically have 2 main categories in this kit. You have your trauma, and then you have your first aid items. So in here, in the most easily accessible, you have basically your life-saving items, which is a very smart way to organize this because you don't want to be digging through Band-Aids when you're trying to pack a life-threatening hemorrhage. So at the base here, you have 2 pairs of nitrile gloves. Always good to have your personal protective equipment. Coming into these pockets, we have 2 NAR compressed Z-fold gauze, and these are very versatile. Generally, they're used for wound packing, but you can use them to bandage a head, you can use them as a compression dressing, you can use them as just a sponge, whatever you want to do. And they're very effective and very compact. But the gold standard is going to be your hemostatic dressings for wound packing. So it does come with Celox Rapid Ribbon, which is a gauze that has some hemostatic agents in it to stop bleeding. Very effective, and these are kind of the gold standards in bleeding control when it comes to packing wounds. So always good to have, but they are kind of expensive, and then if you have multiple wounds you have to pack, you can go to these, and they're going to be very effective as well. On this side here, this is just a big compression bandage. So if you've packed a wound, you need to wrap it in or anything like that, or if you just have like a scalp wound, you want to stop bleeding, or an arm wound, something like that, you've got this guy here you can wrap around their arm. And then in This top pocket, we have a SWAT T tourniquet, so stretch, wrap, and tuck tourniquet. Not Committee for Tactical Combat Casualty approved. Is very effective in stopping hemorrhage in other people. It's very difficult to do self-aid, self-application, which is why it doesn't kind of get those really great endorsements from the committee. But it can be used as a backup tourniquet, can also be used as a very effective pressure dressing, very versatile. I carry one of these in my everyday carry kit most of the time because they are so versatile and they work relatively well in a lot of situations. Behind that, you've got another pocket here, and this holds a myriad of things. And this kind of gets into what makes this kit different. You know, we've all seen the chest seals, so these are hyphen twin pack chest seals, and these are my favorite chest seals personally for use because they come with 2 of them for an entrance exit wound, and they are vented. The laminar valve on these is one of the most effective on the market, and that's actually from empirical data. So I really like carrying hyphen chest seals. They're also very, very compact. They're in there, and that's for your sucking chest wounds. Comes with an NPA, so a nasopharyngeal airway. If their airway is obstructed by their tongue, you can put this in, bypasses that, lets them breathe a little bit easier, and is also one of the interventions done in your initial casualty care in TCCC. Now, the last thing in this side of this kit is going to be a padded splint. So this is essentially a SAM splint. It's just a different brand here. And it's a splint that can be molded in multiple different ways. It actually has a picture on the splint itself on different ways it can be used to splint extremities. Very versatile, awesome thing to have. You know, this isn't something that's going to save a life per se, but you can greatly reduce further orthopedic damage by limb movement by splinting it. Also, in situations where there's a lot of bleeding control, you can splint their arm or extremity that has the wound, and that will keep the clot in place for a longer period of time. So really good thing to have, and something that you don't see in your standard IFAC. Everything I've gone through up until now is kind of your standard bleeding control items, your standard tactical combat casualty care items. And now we're getting into what really makes this the Get Home Alive kit, because it has so many different options in it. In this pocket here, now this is a really nice windowed pocket. The zipper's super high quality, and you can actually get into it, like I said before, from either way. So if you don't want to open the whole kit up, you can come in here, grab some gauze, get out. But coming into this pocket, we have some medical tape, which can be used for all sorts of things. We have a triangular bandage. Now this goes hand in hand with your splint. So once you splint their arm, you can use this as a sling for their arm to hold it up and keep it from moving. But it can also be used as a bandana. It can be used as an extra bandage. You can use it for a lot of stuff. So it's a great thing to have in any kind of survival kit. Coming down here, we have your boo-boo kit, for lack of a better word. And I really like companies that put these into kits, because a lot of this stuff, we're not going to use it very often, but you'll probably use a Band-Aid weekly, and it's a great thing to have. So in here in the front, you got a bunch of Band-Aids, things like that. Getting into the kit, this is actually the first time I've opened it. You have a tampon, so not for bleeding control in like massive hemorrhage. This is for, you know, the period only. And you'd actually be amazed. I've done a lot of first aid standbys as a paramedic at different events, and tampons are the #1 requested item at our first aid station from people. So I highly recommend you carry one of these with you, and it's a good thing they included this in here. In here, you've got a Cpr Face Shield. Now, the efficacy of a Cpr Face Shield is up for debate. Hands-only CPR will work very, very well for most people, and that's how that's really what I do if I come across somebody in cardiac arrest outside of work, and yes, I have in the past. So I do hands-only CPR just to avoid the potential contamination, but if you have somebody in respiratory arrest, either from trauma or from a heroin overdose, something like that, you can use a face shield to breathe for them. And then in here, you just have ibuprofen, aspirin, some Difen, so your anti-diarrheals. You have some tweezers to get a splinter out, and then some other random pieces of gauze, Band-Aids, steri strips, and things to cleanse the wound. So really cool that this kit's in here. This is one of those must-have items for a myriad of different situations, because they're things that you're going to use commonly. Coming into this pocket a little bit deeper, we have a space blanket. So super important. Now this space blanket is not insulated in and of itself. So you should be wrapping them in a coat or their clothes and have other things to insulate. And then you put this to keep the heat from escaping. Hypothermia is a super big killer in traumatic situations. So we want to make sure we're keeping people warm. Getting into this is essentially just a bunch of different types of gauze. So you have your scalp wound, something like that. You can use these to put over it and then wrap with the pressure dressing, you know, an arm, avulsion, abrasion, something like that. We have this to treat those kind of minor bleeding issues that aren't life-threatening but are potentially serious. So that's really all that comes in this kit. You'll see here there's a couple different ways you can set this up. Each one of these elastic loops has 2 there. So if you're not happy with what comes in this kit, which I honestly actually don't know why you wouldn't be, you can buy the bag only and then fill it however you want. So all in all, I think this kit is spectacular as kind of an all-around first aid kit in a pretty small form factor for what it carries. Like I said before, I think it's a little bit too big to carry on your belt. I will not be carrying it on my belt. And then if you're gonna carry it on a plate carrier, I'd carry it as a dangler below it, mounting it to the front. If this is all you have, you don't have any magazines, I think it'll be fine. But if you have other stuff, it'll be out a little bit too much. So, really great kit. I'll leave a link below to pick this up, and then I do have a discount code you can use on this as well. Live the Creed puts out a bunch of really good products, and they've got really good customer service. So if you have a chance, go check them out. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and I will see you next week.